management allegedly turned toxic, compromising efficient healthcare. Also, what is concerning is that behavior of other health professionals with other institutions, and nurses to be specific, are said not to give patients a befitting treatment, even after local clinics after basic medical services, to make access easier and lessen to burden on hospitals. Hospitals then refer complex cases to more specialized, larger hospitals than can provide certain expert services. Despite the arrangements, there are frequently backlogs and lengthy waiting lists at different levels of the referral system. According to this health policy vision for health, it prioritizes the following: equity, right to health, respect for all, the best possible care, among others. INingizimu Afrika isalokhu iwumphakathi ongalingani lapho izinga kanye nohlobo lwezinsiza abantu abazitholayo uthanda ukuthonywa kakhulu isimo sabo senhlalomnotho kanye nekhono lokufinyelela ezinsizeni ngaphandle kokubheka izinga lesidingo sokunakekelwa. Kanjalo futhi imibiko iveza ukushoda kakhulu kwezithuthi eziphuthumayo, isikhathi eside sokulinda nokuminyana ngokweqile, inhlanzeko ebucayi, ubuchwepheshe obuphelelwe isikhathi, ukuntuleka kwabasebenzi kanye nezimo zengqondo zokucwasa emaqenjini esiyingozi njengezinto ezikhathazayo. If these principles are practiced regularly, litigation and medical legal hazards can decrease and improved clinical care can be introduced. Ingakho kufanele siqile ekuguquleni noma sikunakisise ukuziphatha kwabasebenzi bethu, ngoba uma siqhubeka senza njalo ekugcineni sizonqoba. Kodwa-ke sizoqhubeka nokuqapha ngokucophelela lokhu, futhi sikhuthaze bonke abahlali ukuthi babike izenzo eziphambene nomthetho ezikhungweni zethu. Equally, the Health Portfolio Committee has attended to most of these hospitals and to the complaints directed to health professionals. Amongst other things, the committee has embarked on to address the above challenge was to conduct an unannounced oversight visits and advise the MEC about the conditions observed together with the treatment from health professionals. The committee also asked for the department to report on the processes taken on those health professionals who are said to be misbehaving. I thank you, Somlo. I thank you, Somlo.
The next member for 10 minutes on behalf of the IFP is the Honorable MJ Nkwanya. Oh.
Honorable Speaker, honorable members, disrespectful behavior has flourished in healthcare for years and has been silently endured or rationalized by staff who make excuses. That's just the way they are, in an attempt to minimize the profound devastation that it can cause. The bad attitude of health practitioners towards service is a big problem facing the South African healthcare sector. Sadly, healthcare has a history of tolerance and indifference to disrespect behavior. These behaviors are clearly learned, tolerated, and reinforced in both the healthcare culture and the society culture, where a certain degree of disrespect is considered a normal style of communication. Poor staffing levels, excessive workloads, power imbalances, superb management scheme, skills, role conflict, and ambiguity, ignorance of social inequalities, and bystander and apathy are some of the factors that contribute to disrespect behavior. Nursing is not a profession for the faint-hearted and requires top-notch dedication and commitment. We are no longer in the footsteps of Florence Nightingale, the woman with a lamp lighting the way for the nursing profession. Inyunifomu ayigqokayo abasayihloniphi, ubuntu abusekho kwabanye abasebenzi bezempilo. Nowadays, they are choosing the career because of unemployment just to get a job. Choosing to enter the nursing profession would prove difficult for those who did not have an inner calling for it. The KwaZulu-Natal healthcare sector is in need of a serious overhaul because the people mandated to provide healthcare service are not working efficiently. A growing tendency among health personnel in government hospitals not to adequately offer the required healthcare services to patients has been observed. Government has in the past striven to change the status quo through measures such as the improvement of conditions of service. But still, this poor attitude towards work does not seem to change at all. What is even more concerning is that health personnel in this country are struggling to live up to the requirements of their noble and selfless profession. We have often heard people narrate how their relatives nearly or actually died due to negligence by a nurse whose role was to simply act quickly and rescue the sick person. More stories are told of how nurses sleep on duty while a patient cries for a glass of water to take their medication. Kuyihlazo ukuthi kunezibhedlela ezinegama elibi esezaziwa ngokuthi uma umuntu engene ehamba ngezinyawo ngolwesihlanu uyobe sehamba ngomhlane njengePrince Mshiyeni kanye ne-RK Khan. Sike sabona ivideo ibiveza isiguli singanakiwe. Sase sabona umndeni waso uzosibheka wasithola sesigcwele izibungu emlonyeni esibhedlela RK Khan. Nami nje ngathunyelwa leyo video Madam Speaker yesiguli sigcwele amabhandishi anegazi singagezwa esasiphethwe yithumba emqaleni singanakiwe esibhedlela ePrince Mshiyeni owagcina ngokuthi sishone. Amanye abantu sebencamela ukugulela emakhaya kundokuyofela esibhedlela. The IFP is to the view that one of the main problems is that many nurses lack public relations skills. They embarrass patients in public and also reveal personal information about patients. Some nurses are so arrogant because they know that patients are at their mercy, and so they treat them badly. Nurses are supposed to feel for patients and empathize with them, but that is not the case. When you visit the clinic or the hospital, you spend almost the whole day in a queue waiting to receive attention while the nurses loiter around and with no sense of urgency. Ukuhlukumezeka kweziguli ezikhungweni zezempilo kwenza sibungaze nobuqotho simungabaze nobuqotho kwabaphathi bezibhedlela ngoba njengokhomanda bezibhedlela akufanele ngabe kwenzeka izigameko zokuhlukunyezwa kweziguli. We understand that it would be unfair for patient to paint all nurses with the same brush, as some really try their best to care for patients. Labo basebenzi bezempilo abaphatha kahle iziguli sibethulela isigqoko sithi abaqhubeke njalo nokuba nobubele nenhlonipho. By turning away patients without having received any treatment at all contributes to medical legal claims, which takes a large chunk of the budget. This unfunded mandate is a cause of serious concern. This is evident in the AG's report or audit outcome for the year ended 31 March 2022, where the KZN Department of Health is faced with a challenge of growing medical legal claims, which now sits at approximately 26 billion. Majority of cases relating to obstetric and gynecology, in cases with the sometimes in cases with obstetric with gynecology. A total of 268 million was paid in the current year. That is 57% of the payment related to eThekwini region, for which the highest payment was relating to cases in Prince Mshiyeni Hospital. In addition, in 2018-2019, the department spent 429,903 on medical negligence. Again, medical legal claims increased from 20.1 billion in 2018 to 2019 to 23.4 billion in 2019-2020. The IFP concurs with Auditor General that monies paid for legal claims could be used to improving the lives of the citizens through service delivery. The MEC must address this elephant in the room. We want to see people contributing to the cost of medical negligence in hospitals and clinics be held accountable and made to pay those claims. These huge sums spent on claims clearly indicate that the department is not implementing measures to prevent medical legal claims. Further, it is important to differentiate rudeness from abusive behavior. While patients may have a right to be rude, abusive behavior is unacceptable. Abusive behavior includes behavior that is physically threatening, likely to cause harm or damage to people or property, or that is verbally abused, for example, racist or homophobic. Rudeness on the other hand can be defined as a lack of manners or courtesy. The IP calls on the MSc to urgently do an evaluation on the working conditions at our healthcare facilities. We believe that frustration on the part of healthcare workers could stem from poor working conditions and a lack of medical suppliers. We need to take a number of different steps that will improve patient care and improve how we spot bad practice. There is a need to provide mandatory hospital-wide education for all staff about the impact of disrespectful behavior and appropriate professional behavior as defined by the Code of Conduct, and provide skill-based training in communication methods, relationship building, business etiquette, behavioral techniques to confront and address disrespect, conflict resolution, assertiveness training, team training, and how to report disrespectful behaviors. Never again will allow substandard care, cruelty, or neglect to go unnoticed and unpunished. This is not about a hospital worker who makes a mistake, but specific cases where a patient has been neglected or ill-treated. Such offenses are unacceptable, and those who are found to be guilty must feel the full force of the law and dismissed from work. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
The next speaker for 8 minutes on behalf of the DA is the Honorable E.V. Bapti. I am reminded, honorable members, that it's his maiden speech. And Honorable Bapti, you will be respected. They will not heckle you. But once you start making controversial issues, you are on your own.
Honorable Speaker, honorable members, officials in the House, honorable members on the virtual platform, I greet you all this afternoon. Honorable Speaker, this motion is sweeping in its scale and scathing in its content. And whilst the veracity of the allegations it makes are not immediately available, the seriousness of what it claims must be addressed in the totality of what we know about the horror stories that populate our airwaves. Such a bold condemnation of the conduct of health practitioners and institutions demands our full attention. And it demands a deliberate program to bring our institutions to a state of performance that eradicates the perceptions, nullifies the criticisms, and most of all, provides citizens with a service they can have a confidence in. What can we make of the solution that the scathing account proposes. Madam Speaker, my research reveals that the Honourable Pakati is not a regular attendee at oversight visits to hospitals and clinics. He has a history of supporting the ANC in government. The brutal conditions referred to by the Honourable Pakati are then an about turn and a clear indictment on the governance and the management of health services in KZN. But Madam Speaker, it enjoins us to do a lot more than resolving that the MEC must pay close attention to the situation. I must assume that the MEC is already doing this, but according to the Honourable Pakati, she is simply not cutting the mustard in the process. Such extreme observations also suggest a total failure of our oversight function and signal the need for governance as well as institutional reform. The condemnation of willful or criminal neglect, the condemnation of malicious conduct would never be enough to counter a situation so dire and so broad in its scope. It would demand immediate and specific interventions to those acts and practices that seek to undo the very purpose and intent of government health services. The premise upon which this motion is built must be fleshed out, and it must be understood in totality if we hope to rectify a service that we simply cannot do without. So what are some of the primary issues that underpin so negative a view of so essential a service? I'll speak first to vacancies. It is no secret that this department suffers from a severe case of staff shortages. How is it possible to render a service to a nation when the very practitioners who must render that service are in short supply? It is also evident that the department is losing good staff and doctors. They are facing growing loads, huge patient loads under very dire circumstances. They are burning out and they need the support of many more colleagues. I'll come then to the matter of equipment. It is also no secret that many institutions lack essential equipment that constitutes part of the ingredients of a competent facility. This compromises the standard and the efficacy of healthcare, and it can be likened to asking a mechanic to fix your vehicle without any tools. Regardless of his expertise, he cannot perform that operation without tools, and neither can our doctors. I come then to the matter of the medical legal claims. The growth in this phenomenon is undeniably linked to poor record keeping and a failure to be meticulous about treatment and the recording thereof. Such omissions open the door for chancers to extract money from the state. And this is a practice we cannot afford and we must resist. However, there is no smoke without fire. These claims and the growth thereof suggest to us that there is a case to be answered for. And the link between such claims and the previous gaps in finances and staff are obvious. It follows that good health services will result in a decline of malpractice and negligence-related claims. Come then to the case of backlogs. If one has to take the issue of referrals to hospitals that are equipped to handle specialized treatment, it becomes immediately obvious and clear that long waits that run to months and even years are the order of the day. How many cases are there where patients have lain in a bed with broken bones, only to succumb to infection and medical complications? I can speak of these personally. And then next, budget, because all these issues relate to the budget in one way or another. With the health budget under severe pressure and cuts looming, there can be no doubt that this department needs more revenue if it is to improve and shake off that dim view that the public have of the service, so that they can begin to enjoy a service that restores their health in a reasonable way. It is in this context that one must ask how NHI can be implemented when budget cuts are a reality and there's no known prospect of a greater budget allocation in the future. We must fix what we have. before we venture into schemes that reside in the realms of theory and the unknown. Honourable Speaker, this debate must of necessity raise questions about the performance of oversight. The motion challenges us to consider whether or not we are being effective in identifying weaknesses, omissions, and commissions that require attention and change. Madam Speaker, Honourable Speaker, I'm a newcomer to this House and to the health portfolio. My limited experience in the field may constitute a slight disadvantage in arriving at conclusions and remedies. However, this limitation does not pose an obstacle to my understanding of our roles and our efficacies as agents of the state with a mission to ensure that the citizens of our country receive quality services. One does not have to be a clinician or a scholar in the medical field to discern what works, what does not work, what is good and what is right, and what is bad and what is wrong. The measurement of performance as a requisite component of service delivery improvement will always require some form of systematic and diligent application of observation. It is that simple. Herein lies an important aspect of this motion. It begs the question, do we conduct our oversight in a meaningful way that leads to constructive criticism and improvement in patient care? After all, that's what we're looking for. What is the lived experience of our citizens when they seek the services that our health facilities provide? I've experienced the enthusiasms of our portfolio chair, and such enthusiasm is, of course, to be commended. But the question I'm posing, however,
Thank you, Honourable Party. We dealt with your maiden debate. We're now moving to EFF. Honourable N.M. Paipeli on behalf of Honourable M.W. Twala for 6 minutes. We'll be reading the speech of M.W. Twala.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker, honourable members. The Department of Health is in charge of one of the most important tasks of government, keeping the bodies of our population in good condition and providing access to the right of life. This department, according to the law, must go beyond just providing hospitals and maintaining and furnishing them. The department must take care of the bodies of KZN community. Beyond the clinic gates and hospital beds, it is unfortunate that today we still have to address problems of hospitals that are barely functioning, let alone a health sector that can service people in their homes and in the wider community where they live and work. As we are gathered here, Honourable Speaker, there are hospitals where our people have to sleep on the floor for hours, just so that they can keep their place in line to see medical practitioner. This is a clear and loud sign of a government that is failing to do its most basic task, which is to protect the bodies of its people. Our people have to wait for hours just to get attention in a public hospital. We know where these problems come from and what creates them. In this province, we do not have enough hospitals, and not only to service our people, but even the different geographical areas where our people are scattered. There are not enough hospitals which are accessible to our people where they are based. People in Uba area, for example, have to cross a game reserve in order to access the only public hospital in their region. Other people in areas like KwaMhlabu-Lingana are even worse off by the mere fact of being located far away from services. Women in this province are being operated for conditions that they do not have, and they have to live with those implications for the rest of their lives. When these people sue the state, it must be the taxpayers who then needs to foot the bill and carry the cost. In Editing Hospital, Honorable Speaker, a woman had an operation conducted on her, and that operation caused complications for her. It was gotten to a point where hospitals are no longer taking her for treatment because the health professionals do not want to implicate themselves in her case. This woman has sued the state, and in this case, like many others, the public will carry the cost. We want to see justice for these victims, and we want answers from the state. Failure of the Department of Health does only end with failure of public hospitals to do their most basic tasks. It goes as far as laying the ground for wider networks of corruption and mafias to entrench themselves in government and corrupt the state. The department lacks the capacity to supply its own hospitals, clinics, laboratories, and offices. All these tasks are given to contractors whose primary motive is to maximize profit out of the lives of our people. Everything is outsourced to a point where the government is paying private contractors to protect government facilities. Where is the monopoly of violence that the state is supposed to have if we rely on private contractors to protect our assets? Our people do not have money to pay for outsourcing in the Department of Health. The very same people who do not have access to health facilities are being forced to pay billions every year to private contractors who do the jobs that could be doing at a fraction of the cost if the state employed them to do. Honorable Speaker, we need to do away with privatization and outsourcing in the health sector, particularly in the health department. I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
The next speaker for 8 minutes on behalf of the ANC is Honorable LD Ngubane.
Honorable Speaker, Premier, honorable members of the Executive Council, honorable members of the House, distinguished guests, I greet you all. Allow me to appreciate the African National Congress, Umbutho Wabantu, for entrusting me with the responsibility yokumela namhlanje. Ngaphambi ka-1994, uhlelo lwethu lwezempilo lwalubonakala ngokwahlukana ngokobuhlanga kanye nokucwasa ngokobulili nangokobuntu. Kusukela kwangena umbuso wentando yeningi lo wathatha ngo-1994, ukuhlinzeka kwezempilo eNingizimu Afrika sekubeke ezinguqukweni eziningi kakhulu. Lokhu kusekelwa ukudidiyelwa kwezinga lokunakekelwa kwezempilo okuyisisekelo, ukuhlonipha amalungelo abantu, kanye nokugcizelela ekuvimbeleni nasekukhuthazeni impilo njengoba kuhlongozwe umqulu wenkululeko kanye nezinjongo zamasu zenguquko yentando yeningi kazwelonke ukuze kwakhiwe iNingizimu Afrika yentando yeningi enakekelayo nenothando. Sihlalo hloniphekile, kuhlale kuyintokozo ukuba yingxenye yenkulumo-mpikiswano lapho uMnyango Wezempilo unikezwa ithuba lokwethulela ePhalamende ukuthi uzoqinisekisa ukuthi izinga lezempilo liyafezeka. Kulezi zikhathi ezinjengalezi lapho kumele sikhumbuzane khona ukuthi iNingizimu Afrika uhlelo lokuthi kufanele sibe kuphi ngo-2030. Yingakho iVision 2030 noma iNational Development Plan okuyi-NDP ngokulinganayo i-United Nations inalo uhlelo olwaziwa nge-Sustainable Development Goals. Lezi zinhlelo zinezinjongo, izinhloso kanye nemigomo, futhi kubalulekile kakhulu kithina ukuthi sisebenze ngaphansi kohlaka lwama-SDGs ukuze sifeze inhloso enkulu yoMnyango Wezempilo, okungukuthi impilo ende nempilo yabo bonke abasesifundazweni sethu. Ukunikhumbuza futhi ngoba kubalulekile kakhulu ukuthi Isifundazwe sethu singakukhohlwa lokhu njengoba ukuthuthukisa kwekhwalithi ekunakekeleni kwezempilo kuzowela ngaphansi kwesigaba se-HUC number 6 ama-pillars awu-6 of a health system. I-human resources yokuqala. Health system cannot work without human resources. We have attrition of medical personnel to other countries, even overseas, due to lack of posts and funding within the public health system. They are the backbone. If we cannot ensure that we have available post funding and sustained quality education of the medical health personnel, the system is collapsing. Infrastructure. Ensure the physical structures are maintained, the buildings, the medical suppliers. Number 3, medicine. Challenges in shortage of medicines that are essential from primary health care levels all the way to tertiary levels. This hinders service delivery to the needy citizens of Africa. The information and technology. The inability to have a centralized database for all people that access public health care services hinders in the continuity of care and not replicable of care. If your clinic data can be available from clinic level all the way to tertiary, we ensure easy in health management. Clinical governance. Strong leadership at all levels create a backbone for sustainable delivery of good health outcomes. People being put to act on posts that are vital for prolonged periods of time make it difficult for decision to be made and hence being implemented and achieved. Service delivered. All South Africans need good health, quality health services to be delivered to them at an easy point of access, which is of quality and human. The challenge of accessing healthcare is still on and rise, as not as many clinics are available in rural areas, shortage of regional hospitals in all districts that have higher caliber of professional and services hinders on access to quality service delivery. Honorable Speaker, again, we have noted that health needs to address the backlogs in medical procedures, as this is the shortage of economic specialists. This hinders delivery of service to patients that need cancer treatment. This shock poses more risk as a patient may come at a stage 1 cancer, be turned back to return later at the time when that cancer is now stage 4 and it's too late for complete treatment and resolution. Due to backlogs again, surgical procedures delayed due to insufficient theater time, due to surgeons, numbers reduced, and well as insufficient to actually assist in doing those procedures. Additional, some surgical procedures are reduced due to lack of surgical supplies, equipment, and consumable and post-operation beds. Through the healthy policy, our priorities have been set. Honorable Baipeli. Firstly, we have to improve the respect for human rights and accountability to the users of healthy facilities and the public at large. Again, reduce the burden and risk of disease affecting the health of all South Africans. This will assist reduce the medical legal claims, as Honorable Baipeli alluded on it. This is another elephant hindering the good services delivery in healthcare. It is a vicious cycle. Lack of human personnel, medicines, equipment leads to increase in the negligence, poor quality of health care delivery, which leads to rise in litigation, which leads to money spent to settle those cases, which leads back to reduction of funding for personnel. Medicine and equipment, it is for that reason that this system needs to be halted. It needs to be accepted. The health system is bleeded from these medical litigation claims. It is unsustainable. It needs to follow the road accident fund guidelines where all medical legal claims must be done internally and not involve externally lawyers. Sengizohlala phansi mphathi wohlelo sihlalo. ANC kuphela onohlelo lokusebenza olucacile lokuguqula izimpilo zabantu. bakithi zibe ngcono. Babekhona ohulumeni phambilini, babengenazo lezi nhlelo u-African National Congress anazo kumanje. Siyazi ukuba umnyango uzokwenza ngayo yonke indlela ekuqinisekiseni ukuthi intuthuko iya kuyo yonke imitholampilo nezibhedlela ezikwaZulu-Natal nase-South Africa. Azizukhetha ama-district athile ngoba kukhona ontaba kayikhonja abahlala khona. Ngiyabonga Somgqibelo.
The next speaker for 2 minutes is the Honorable CM Shinga of the NFP.
Honorable Speaker, honorable members. The unjust and careless treatment of patients in our public hospitals is deeply concerning and intolerable. And throughout the years, there have been numerous reports of this alleged behavior. 2019 saw an inspection of Pietermaritzburg Northdale Hospital as a result of allegations of staff negligence made to the KwaZulu-Natal Department of Health. Honorable members, on September 19, 2021, the same Northdale Hospital admitted Nanka Jukoham from Harwich after he had low blood pressure and was scheduled for a simple spinal surgery. But when the patient's daughter went to visit, she discovered him in a wet, dirty bed and he appeared worse than he was when admitted. He lost weight and was very fragile and had acquired a horrific bed sore. It is terrible that he acquired bed sore while under the supervision of medical professionals and that his medical condition deteriorated. The treatment Naka had received was unjustifiable. When you arrive at the hospital for treatment, you expect the personnel to have the required training, knowledge, credentials, and patience to meet your medical needs. Honorable Speaker, the Office of the Public Protector undertook a fact-finding mission to 4 KZN hospitals. The investigation was conducted at Christ the King, Ridley Hospital, Mbongolwane, and KwaMagwaza District Hospital in Melmot in October last year. According to the report, in one instance, KwaMagwaza Hospital, a patient with a mental illness was locked in a room not suitable for psychiatric patients, and this could have resulted in the patient injuring himself. We therefore call upon the MEC for Health to pay very close attention to this issue of poor provision and maladministration of healthcare services and to condemn this kind of behavior by health practitioners at a public hospital. I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
The next speaker is Honorable Esther Kurratbansi. She's not in the house. Now the next speaker would be Honorable M.E. Phakathi, now on behalf of the ATM. 2 minutes, Babu Phakathi.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Kuyiqiniso ukuthi endaweni emtholampilo kusekhona inkinga eziningi ezidalwa abasebenzi. Somlomo ngoba ngisazokhuluma angazukhuluma kakhulu okuyikona kona okubalekile bese kufisa siyi-ATM ukuthi ungqongqoshe akabheke ukuthi abantu abascreenwe before bangene baqashwe ngoba lento yokuba unesi iwubizo somlomo. Ubizo ke akuwona nombani ovele kuthi usebuziwe avuke usebiziwe. Kumele kuba abantu abanenhliziyo yabantu, kumele kuba abantu ababazisayo abantu, kumele kuba abantu abanothando lwabantu. Somlomo sicela ukuthi ungqongqoshe asebenzisane nathi la ekwenzeni iqiniso ebantwini bethu abantwini bakithi abamnyama. Ngiyabonga.
The next speaker for 2 minutes is Honorable S.E. Manqele of the ACDP. Is Honorable Manqele in the house yet, Secretary? It's in the house. Honorable Manqele, 2 minutes.
Thank you, Speaker. I've got network problem. But the
only change it's the picking. Okay, first it's the pick and pay.
The shortage of the staff in hospitals is one of the huge problems which needs to be attended to. In one of the hospitals, which we call King Nandi, doors are not fixed in theaters. The nurses are operating with doors that are not closed.
Camera, Honorable Bishop, the camera is not on.
The camera?
Isiyaphela isikhathi sakho, vula ikamera mfundisi omhle.
It is on, ma.
No, it's not fine because it's still not on.
Okay. I don't know what else to do, Mama. It's on my side.
Please hold the time.
Then,
seems like he has a problem.
But the problem is not.
Honorable
The
Honorable Mangala.
Yes.
That won't
Yes,
work. That won't work, Mtanjiswa. Switch on the video, please. Simiswa, because we think he has a problem. We coming from 1 minute, 39 seconds to be at 55 seconds. We think that he is amongst the members that still have to get assisted with technology skills. Babu Mangele.
Ma, how it is now?
Babu Mangele, we are not going to accept this when you are dealing with your party motion. You must know you are a party leader. You also have access to having employees in the caucus office to enable you to do the legislature work properly.
What wrong I have done, Speaker?
Not switching on the video, Honorable Member. Your video is still not off. We can't see you.
I think it's a technical problem, Ma, because my video is open on my side. And I see.
IT will help you as we
and
continue.
I can see me.
IT will help you as you continue, but honorable members, when you do not come to the House, the responsibility is squarely on you. Because we moved from when we said we want a certain number of people. Even at that time, honorable members, I'm not speaking to Honorable Mangala, I'm speaking generally. Even at that time, those who were debating were encouraged to come. So IT must help Honorable Mangala as he continues with his speech. Continue, Honorable Mangala, the IT unit will be helping you.
Thank you, Speaker. I said in Queensland, the doors are in theaters. Nurses are operating with doors that are not closed. Some theaters have a very high temperature. Doctors sleep over patient open wounds, which lead into sex. So the issue of Queensland department to look at it closer because there is a problem in that hospital. At times, even the load shedding can also impact my health staff. Some facilities don't have backup engines while they are supposed to deliver comprehensive services to the communities. Sometimes there is of relevant medication. With this few word, Speaker, I thank you.
Ozwakali, speak. Can't hear you.
Bizwa umhlonitshwa umbathacele mfundisi uphakathi.
Honorable Speaker, Honorable Premier, honorable members of the Executive Council, honorable members of this House, distinguished guests, I greet you all. Honorable Speaker, we are the first one as the African National Congress to admit and point out some challenges in engulfing our health institutions. That is why the legislature mandate to ensure that service delivery indeed takes place in our province through the health institution functionality monitoring programs as charged by Section 114 of the Constitution, which provides for powers of provincial legislatures. Our government derives its approach to health from the injunction contained in the Freedom Charter that says, open quote, "There shall be houses, security and comfort," close quote. To be precise, Honorable Speaker, a preventive health scheme shall be run by the state. Admittedly, our province has seen an increase in the demand for sustainable health care, but our pace of provision has lagged behind the rate of increase. We must, however, also boldly state here that it is not all health institutions that has unprofessional behavior, which we condemn and would encourage anyone with evidence of such happening to come forth as patients are to be treated with care and respect at all material times. Siyanxusa-ke as African National Congress, government ukuthi bonke abantu othi yena unaso isiqiniseko sokuthi kulesa sibhedlela ama-patients atrithwa ngale ndlela. Khona umfowethu oke washo ukuthi u-honorable member ethe babuyele emuva bengatrithwanga. We are requesting that nibe specific ukuthi isiphi leso sibhedlela esibuyiselisa abantu emuva. Honorable members, we must discourage the opposition which wants to paint a picture that says there is a crisis in public hospitals. However, we understand their thinking maybe it is because izambane lodwa libolisa amanye amazambane amaningi. Allow me to make an example of Inkosi Albert Luthuli Memorial Hospital, which is a classical public health institution that raises the name of our province high amongst other provinces. Not only is the hospital beautiful in terms of infrastructure and how it is taken care of, but we also barely hear of any bad reports relating to the ill treatment of patients by health professionals, specifically nurses. The hospital is a referral hospital, but when patients arrive without being referred, they are not chased away. They get urgent assistance and then get referred to their local or regional hospitals. The hospital also receives patients from Eastern Cape. This on its own, Honorable Speaker, proves that there is something right happening in our health systems. Again, Grace Hospital in Umgungundlovu is another classical example of the good story to tell within our health system. One must appreciate how our hospitals handled COVID-19 pandemic, which is also another classic example of something good happening in our health institutions, where workers shown dedication towards their work under difficult situations. It is quite crucial to raise that some of our local clinics and some district hospitals do get overwhelmed by the number of patients they receive versus the number of staff members available. This is a matter that the department is working on, and there is a general great improvement. However, we also note the financial crisis faced by the department, where we would have situations of vacancies not being filled. We have seen the department hiring thousands of young nurses as contract staff in almost all the hospitals in KZN, and most of those contract workers have been absorbed into permanent employment, thereby reducing the unemployment rate with a significant percentage, while at the same time addressing staff shortage within our health institutions. Another challenge the department is facing is the lack of public relations. in that the good stories do not get to be known out there, but the little that goes wrong get to be all out and paint the entire system as failing and to be in a state of collapse, which is not true. It is worth noting that staff complement of the department is becoming youthful, which resonate with our population status, where majority is the youth. What is pleasing with these young employees is that they are not in this field for the salary only, but they are not in this field for the salary only, but they serve with diligence and with passion. The dedication and love we have seen, the dedication and love we have seen from these young nurses is encouraging, as it reduces cases of nurses who shout and neglect patients. Allow me to commend our MEC for Health, who has worked tirelessly in trying to bridge the gap in terms of public relations through the department Facebook page and all other social media platforms called KZN Health Chat, where they speak of all the good that is happening in the department. They do not shy away to point out the rotten potatoes and expose such where it is necessary. This in the end will make the department to be known of good deed without hiding the bad, but addressing it and make sure that it does not happen again. Admittedly, Speaker, the health sector has many challenges, but we believe that through the technically and policy mechanism we have put in place, the sector will soon turn a corner and embark on more progressive trajectory. When we bring together government, private sector, communities to be active participants, we will achieve our goals sooner rather than later. Siyazi ukuthi, Honorable Speaker, isimo esikusona sis-inheritile kuhulumeni wobandlululo. Ngiyamangala if kukhona abantu abamnyama abagxeka uhulumeni okhona, bebebazi kahle ukuthi isimo esikusona njengabantu abamnyama, ikakhulukazi ezibhedlela zethu, sis-inherite kuhulumeni obandlululo. Akuqali ukuthi ubone isibhedlela singenabo onesi abanele, nakuhulumeni obandlululo kwakade kwenzeka lokho. So siyanxusa ke ukuthi kulezo bhedlela njengoba kade esho Honorable Nkwanyana ukuthi kukhona babuyiselwa emuva bengazange ba-attendwa. Siyacela ukuthi abe specific ukuthi iziphi lezo bhedlela. Okuhle futhi Honorable Nkwanyana usekomitini lakwa health kuyobaleka ke ukuthi alekelele
Honorable Mbathatsane. Honorable ku 54, Honorable Nkwanyana and Honorable Kwala. Honorable Nkwanyana and Honorable Kwala, you are allowed to speak, but don't. Honorable Nkwanyana, you can't drown the speaker on the podium. Honorable Mbathatsane must be heddled but not drowned. We don't want to heddle. You can go ahead, Honorable Mbathatsane.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, ukungiprotect. Kuyobaleka ke ukuthi i-honorable member ngoba uyahlala kwi-portfolio committee yakwa health ayiraise noma asho kwi-portfolio committee ukuthi izona zibhedlela akhuluma ngazo. Kuyamangaza ke ngoba uma benza i-oversight, Honorable Nkwanyana uhlale khona. In conclusion, I echo the words of Christine Butler when he said, open quote, believe that tomorrow will be better than today, close quote. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
The next member to respond to the debate for 5 minutes is the Honorable M.E. Phakathi, the mover of the motion.
Madam Speaker, thank you very much. I want to thank all the members who have contributed in this motion. Madam Speaker, I want to put it on record that as ATM will never politicize anything that concerns our people, anything that troubles our people, because we believe that is not something that we come and grandstand about here, but it's something that we should raise so that it can be solved. Speaker, isikhathi sami singakapheli ngifuna ukuphuthuma ngibheke kule nsizwe engiphaphelayo nje ifika izolo. Isizongitshela ukuthi kufuna ngisupporte bani, ngingasupport othile, ngingasupport othile. Angithunywanga iDA nje ungibona ngila. Ngila ngithunywe i-ATM and ngizosupporta lento efuna ukusupportwa esupportwa i-ATM ngaleso sikhathi. Futhi ke ngifuna ukwazi ukuthi honorable member party sizokukhombisa ngempela ukuthi sisupportani emkhale sithi ukuthi yini lesisupportayo sizokukhombisa. Asiwona amagwala izinto sizikhuluma lesiziqonde ngqo mefuna siziqonde. Akekho umuntu ongazi ukuthi abantu abamnyama ibona abahluphekayo speaker. Abantu abamnyama ibona abama kuma long queues speaker. Manje ngeke uzungitshele ke uDA umbutho wokuphapha nje wabaphapha nomfowethu umncwango waphapha nabo wazwabona nje azakwazi ukuyimela lento okuqhubeka phapha ngaludlo waphapha ngayo. Speak, I can never tolerate anything that is said about myself and ATM. Someone that just came yesterday and decided and he says he has done a research that I've never attended. Where was he when we were attending those programs? I want to say, Madam Speaker, we thank all the members that have contributed into this debate. Some of the things that have been raised here are genuine, and we are raising them up just because we want to find a solution to these programs. Thank you very much, Speaker.
Thank you. We have come to the end of the debate on the ATM party motion. We now move to the next order, which is 8.7, a debate on the ACDP party motion as moved by Honorable S.E. Manele. I will call upon Honorable S.E. Manele to introduce the motion for 10 minutes. Bishop Manele. Hayi, akutsho nini sizova ngosecretary. The secretary is telling me that he's being assisted by IT to show the video. No, Honorable Cele. It's only now that we've seen that he had a problem. He's there. Chief Whip. No, who can't Chief Whip? Honorable
Madam Speaker. Yes, Madam Speaker. My problem where I am is network. Okay. Not to say I'm not participating. I hear some of the debate. The network cuts me and I log on again. The chief whip tells me that you said in the event of being cut off, you have someone to take your place. Yes, I requested Honorable Chinga to read. You want her to read it now, Honorable Manele, or you will read it yourself? I must start as I'm going on. You must start. Okay, Honorable Manele will start when he gets cut off. Honorable Shinga will take off where he left. Honorable Manele for 10 minutes, Bishop Baba. Thank you. Speaker, greeting you and all honorable members in the legislature. As ACDP, we have learned that the killing of people in South Africa is in a very high level. According to the Bill of Rights, Chapter 2, Section 7, Subsection 1, the Bill of Rights is and affirms the democratic values of human dignity, equality, and freedom. It has been recorded. The KZN has been the highest number. Of multiple matter. Can I go on, Speaker?
We are battling to hear you, Honorable Bishop. Don't you think
Yes.
it would serve your party better if you let the person who has your speech to read it on your behalf, because we can hardly hear you?
That will be fine, my leader. I can appreciate.
Okay. Honorable CM Shinga, can you come to the podium to read the speech? You are left with, Honorable Shinga, you are left with 8 minutes 37. 37 seconds. Between na minute magabuya ma minute kata tumanqele bakithi. Now I will pardon him. He did not understand the rules for the full last term. How could he understand them in 2 weeks this term? I pardon Honorable Gumbi for not understanding the rules. They were elusive for the entire term to you last year. So 2 weeks is too short a time for you to even take a shot. Honorable Shinga, 8 minutes 37. Bro Shinga has is the motion, not the introduction to the motion. So he will read that as it is and submit it so that you don't get confused. That's what will be submitted by Honorable Shinga. Go ahead, Nonqen.
This House notes that we are alarmed by a recent report on the latest crime.
Honorable Shinga, focus on the motion.
That we are alarmed.
No, Honorable Shinga.
That we are alarmed by the Honorable Speaker, please protect me.
Of course, whips of the Majority Party behaves.
Nyaxolisa, this House notes that we are alarmed by a recent report on the latest crime statistics in South Africa, which revealed that KwaZulu-Natal is the country's most deadly province, and that out of the 6,424 murder cases reported between April and June of 2022, an alarming number of 1,623 cases had occurred in KwaZulu-Natal. This House therefore resolves to urgently address this matter by calling on the province and the legislature to embark on stop crime campaigns and to collect illegal firearms from individuals and affected communities to help push back the rampant crime within our province, as submitted by Honorable Mangele of the ACDP.
Thank you. The next speaker on behalf of the ANC for 9 minutes. It's Honorable Ntombela, the chairperson of STACO.
Sibonge somlomo ukuthola leli thubo lokuba ingxenye yenkulumo mpikiswano ngezinga lobugebengu welikaMthaniya. Somlomo nabo bonke abahlonishwa endlini. Angiphinde ngibonge ukuthola leli thuba lokuba yingxenye yale nkulumo mpikiswano ngokwenyuka kwezinga lobugebengu esifundazweni saKwaZulu-Natal. Kuyiqiniso elingephiko ukuthi kule minyaka cishe emihlanu nangaphezulu izinga lobugebengu lenyuke kakhulu kwisifundazwe sakithi. Amalokishi ethu asebala nahamba phambili ezweni konke ubugebengu, ukubulala, ukudlwengula, ukuduna kwezimoto, nokunyuka kwezinga lokusebenzisa nokuhweba ngezidakamizwa. Inselelo enkulu ileyo ukuthi nabo abanye abengalo yomthetho bayasolakala ekubeni ingxenye yezigilamkhuba ngokubambisana nazo bazivikele baphinde bazibhotshozele nolwazi ngezinhlelo zamaphoyisa athembekile emsebenzini wawo uma ezama ukubopha lezi gilamkhuba. Kodwa asibonge ukuthi abanye abangamalunga engalo yomthetho basabonakala bezimisele ukulwisana nalobugebengu. Yingakho-ke kuboshwe nje amaphoyisa emavikini ambalwa adlulile ngokubulawa kwekhansela likakhongolose eThekwini. Lokho kukubeka ngokusobala ukuthi akuwona wonke amaphoyisa abolile, akuwona wonke amaphoyisa angcolile, kepha akhona amaphoyisa awaziyo umsebenzi wawo and awusebenza ukuvikela isizwe sakithi nokusivikela kubona kanye abanye abagqoke le uniform yamaphoyisa kepha benokungcola nokukhohlakala. Inselelo enkulu ikuthina njengemphakathi ukubambisana nabengalo yomthetho ukulwisana nalobu bugebengu, ngoba abenzi bobubi izingane zethu, abashana nezihlobo zethu. Asikho isigebengu esaqhibuka njengekhowe, zonke zazalwa ziphila nabantu emhlabeni. Akuqale thina-ke sithi ngeke siphile nesigebengu sizazi singazibiki kwabengalo yomthetho. Akuqale thina singamalunga ePhalamende ukushumayela ivangeli lungathengi kubafana ngoba kushibhile. Aqale thina abahlonishwa sibike izigilamkhuba emalokishini nasezindaweni zangakithi zokuhlala ukubika abadayisa izidakamizwa. Kungokuqala nga ukuthi uhulumeni akhiphele izwe lonke izinombolo zamaphoyisa ikakhulukazi lawo aphethe iziteshi kulo lonke izwe ukuze uma kunenkinga bathintwe ngqo ngaleko kuba nezihibe. Kuyaqala ngawo ukuthi manje whether ukwandengezi, whether ukwaNongoma, whether useThekwini, ukumasabhabhu noma usezilalini, uyakwazi ukuba nenamba kamasteshi manje isiteshi sangakini kamakhalekhukhwini khona uzoxhumana naye ngqo ngaleso sikhathi uxhumana naye ngaso ubeke inkinga yakho kunokuthi fanele njalo ulindele ukuthi fanele uzothole inamba zesiteshini ozoshaya kwesinye isikhathi ingabanjwa yimuntu. Izakhiwo zokusebenzisana nomphakathi iqiniso elingephiko ukuthi kwezinye indawo azisebenzi kahle okugcina kukhinyabeza ubambisana phakathi kwebangalo yomthetho nemiphakathi yethu. So kumele sisabeleke ikhwelo lokuthi nathi njengamalungu ePhalamende uma sifuna kube nobulungiswa siqinisekiseni ukuthi ama-community policing forum endaweni zangakithi asebenza ngendlela efanelekile. Ama-community policing forum siyawasupporta siyimphakathi ikakhulukazi thina singabahlonishwa ngoba kuba nesiqi esithe xaxa uma thina siyibandakanya nalezi zinhlelo ezifana nalezi nalezakhiwo ezifana nalezi. Uma senze kanjalo siyokwazi ukuqinisekisa sibuyise ithemba kubantu bakithi, siyokwazi ukuqinisekisa ukuthi abantu bengalo yomthetho baneqhaza elibonakalayo abalibambayo. Labo ababheke eceleni beyingcosana bogcina beyibona ukuthi kule ndawo abanayo indawo efanelekileyo. Sikhuluma nje umnyango wezamaphoyisa kulo nyaka wezimali uzophinde ukhipha amaphoyisa angaphezulu kwey'nkulungwane cishe eziyishumi abejoyinisiwe ekumele aqale asebenze ey'ndaweni zethu. Esithemba ukuthi la maphoyisa azobe efika engenelela elekelela kulawa akhona but azobe efika futhi ngomfutho omusha nokuqonda okungcono ukuthi yiphi inselelo ababhekene nayo yokuhlonipha leli bheji abaligqokile ngoba kwesinye isikhathi kulaba abadala sekukhona ukulithatha kancane ngoba babona ukubona sebazi kangcono kakhulu umsebenzi. So ngaleyo ndlela siwukhongolose siyavumelana nomhlonishwa ukuthi kokunye zikhona inselelo ekhona kepha siyimphakathi sinokubamba iqhaza elingcono ukulekelela lesi simo hambise phambili egameni le-ANC siyabonga somlomo.
The next speaker for 10 minutes on behalf of the IFP is Honorable M.D. Gwala. Honorable Shinga, I take it you are the acting whip of the minorities because it's you who is in the house. Please attend to that member of the minorities, Honorable Pagati, who's having a meeting within a meeting. Honorable Shinga. Hey, yazi ke ngibesa libheka nokuthi linile. Ngangulibheke.
Meeting yan speak.
I-meeting asiyazi yani but ubukhuluma whilst sikhuluma lana kwi-house. So it's you were what? When honorable members you are speaking, it shows on the gadget of the table staff. Whoever was speaking, I have been notified that it's Honorable Pagat. I know it's December. Don't start to be rude. You are still honorable members, please. Honorable MP Gumbi, MP Gwala, may you start with your debate.
Honorable Speaker, honorable members, the IFP believes that preventing crime is preferable to dealing with crime than after it has occurred. Crime prevention concentrates on the dual concept of eliminating or minimizing criminal opportunities wherever possible, and encouraging citizens to be responsible for their own security and the security of others. A successful crime prevention requires a minimum 3 things: an offender, a victim, and a suitable location. At the heart of criminal activity is an individual carrying out illegal activity. It is extremely worrying that some people often know about the criminal activities committed by their children, husbands, and relatives in the community, but decide not to expose them. By doing so, this exacerbates crime and render police service and crime reduction programs ineffective. It is a true understanding that the police cannot do it alone and must build partnerships with the community to solve community problems. Crime is a community problem, not just a police problem. It is an undisputed fact that crime is rife in the country. With a pro-poor constitution and astute judiciary, conditions seem propitious for the emergence of a transformative jurisprudence that could alter structured inequalities and power relations and improve the situation for the poor and marginalized. But the IFP is of the firm view that criminal justice system is failing victims of crimes, and widespread reform is needed to build trust and secure justice. The country's criminal justice system has a history of failing to expedite cases. Cases are characterized by shambolic investigations that eventually lead to their being dismissed due to a lack of evidence. This leads to various malfunctions of the justice system, including high levels of impunity, delays in the administration of justice, overuse of pre-trial detention, often for lengthy period, insufficient use of alternative sentencing options, overcrowded prisons that can not fulfill their rehabilitative function, and high rates of reoffending. Crime victims need to have confidence in the criminal justice system. Crime victims are continually and systematically failed by the criminal justice system. We found many hardworking police officers who are dedicated to pursue and arrest criminals, but then they are let down by the justice system. The issue of attending court cases by witnesses is of great concern to the IFP. Witnesses are key to hearings. It is always very difficult and often impossible to win a case without witnesses. For example, you will find that a witness has to travel from Mangus to attend a court case at 9 a.m. in Pietermaritzburg, then the case being postponed at 4 p.m. without considering the impact it has with the witness who have traveled a long distance just to attend court case without even being provided with accommodation sometimes. We are aware that the witnesses do not receive any payment for being a witness. However, it is not expected that they should incur any major cost in having to attend court either, but witness travel expenses are insufficient compared to the distance traveled by the witness to attend a court case. This discourages people from becoming witnesses, let alone whistleblowers. In addition, there has been cases of police officers rounding up and mishandling anybody at a crime scene. These include potential witnesses, which makes them reluctant to cooperate with the investigators. Evidence gathering and the treatment of witnesses need to improve. The SAPS must restore public confidence in its ability to investigate crimes. Police officers need to treat communities as partners in crime resolution, not as suspects. Criminal justice systems have to carefully balance the needs of communities and society for protection and safety, the needs of victims for justice and reparation, and the need to hold offenders accountable while ensuring their rehabilitation and social reintegration and reducing reoffending. Further, the failure by the justice system was evident when Mr. Siya Dlamini, an IFP supporter, was shot in full view of the police and television cameras outside Intuzuma Magistrate Court in 2012, and the police confiscated the gun from the perpetrator, who is today still among us in the streets, and he is well known in the community. Surprisingly, charges were withdrawn against the suspect, and one of the issues was the failure to secure unedited raw footage from the national broadcaster, the SABC. Even today, we are still questioning why there was a need for a video footage when this crime was committed in full view of police, the media, and the public in the court precinct. If a person is shot in a shebeen, do courts need video footage? If a person was raped in a sugarcane field, do courts need video footage? These are all things that contribute to low morale of the police officers. The ANC is indeed in trouble. The IFP is aware that prisoners shall be treated with the respect due to their inherent dignity and value as human beings. But the IFP is concerned about the serious imbalance between the rights of criminals and the rights of crime victims and the police officers. Criminals must not have more rights than citizens. Crime prevention has become an increasingly important component of many national strategies on public safety and security. If we are able to determine what factors are associated with different types of crime, when we can develop a set of strategies and programs to change those factors and prevent or reduce the incidence of those crimes. The IFP is concerned about incompetence by the ANC-led government, who has plunged the country into darkness. When KwaZulu-Natal is cast into darkness, its residents become vulnerable to criminals who can prowl the street without fear of being caught. The risk of increased opportunistic crime should be top of the mind for everyone, considering the load shedding schedule is made public for all, including criminals, to see. Further, The IFP is concerned about the failure by the ANC government to bring stability on our borders. The porosity of our borders has also fueled cross-border criminal activities. Porous borders are posing a serious security risk as they expose the country to a litany of illegal activities, including smuggling and criminal syndicates roaming undetected. This makes us to be convinced that some state security agents manning the country's expansive border lines are corruptly facilitating illegal entry of foreigners, and this is rampant. Lastly, while the concerns have been raised with regard to the incompetence of the Crime Intelligence Unit in detecting crime, but the lack of political will from the ruling party to ensure that there is a strong work relationship between crime intelligence and the public has rendered this unit to be ineffective. Police must be provided with enough resources to fight crime. I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
The next speaker for 8 minutes on behalf of the DA is Honorable S. Hussein.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, Keep the Energy, a group on Instagram, followed by over 107,000 people. Keep the Energy page highlights and profiles all the women and children who have been raped and murdered in our country. If you have never heard of this account, please look it up, and I implore you to follow this account. Just for November, these were the stories of some of the women and children who are no longer. On the 3rd of November this year, 17-year-old Unako was shot dead on her birthday and by unknown gunmen as she was walking home with her friends after a party. To date, no one has been arrested. On the 7th of November, 25-year-old Sasha Lee Shah from Durban was murdered by her ex-boyfriend. They dated for 12 years. He shot her dead and then turned the gun on himself at Gateway Shopping Center. On the 8th of November, Okabo, a 4-year-old baby, was murdered by a 30-year-old man. She went missing on the 9th of October, and her body was cut up into small pieces and scattered in a field. The man who was arrested for raping the 9-year-old in November 2021 has now been charged with kidnapping, rape, murder, defeating the ends of justice, and violating a corpse. Okabo's family had to bury the remaining parts of her body as the murderer would not tell them where the rest of her body was. On the 10th of November, it was reported that Sitembile, a 24-year-old pregnant woman, was killed on the 14th of October 2022. Another Miss Majosi, an 18-year-old lady, was also murdered. They were both murdered by a policeman who was allegedly romantically connected to both these women. He allegedly shot Sitembile first. While Miss Majosi tried to run away, he allegedly shot her outside and dragged the body back inside the house and tried to create a fake crime scene. The two women were shot in the head and declared dead by paramedics. He has been arrested. Last week, Lakeisha Martinez, an 18-year-old who was a mother to an 8-month-old baby, got into an argument with her boyfriend. He threw a beer bottle against her head, and she was rushed to the hospital and declared dead on arrival. These are just a few cases that we are made aware of. But what becomes of those women who are constantly traumatized every day, not knowing whether they would see another day? They fear to even approach law enforcement, and let's be honest, SAPS does not hold a good record when dealing with rape, domestic violence, or any form of abuse. What becomes of those children who are happily playing in our communities, but are being preyed on by men who want to hurt and tear them apart? The best part is that those men could have done this crime more than once and got away with it, just like in the case of Bokabo. Had that man been arrested and imprisoned the first time round, Bokabo's family would still have their baby around and would not have to endure burying a 4-year-old's partial parts of her body. Madam Speaker, these are real life experiences of ordinary South African citizens under the ANC government. It is shocking that the ANC is accepting of the state of crimes against women and children in our province. After every announcement of the latest crime stats, we hear elaborate promises from the useless ANC, but the lives of women and children in our communities only gets worse. You would recall just recently in August this year, a 19-year-old woman who was raped along with 7 other women in Krugersdorp West Village. I quote, "Lucky, if it is lucky to have been raped by one man as opposed to several men." Close quotes. Words of the Minister of Police, who is responsible for the high crime stats we experience every day in this province. If he can so loosely call a young lady who had been raped lucky, you can understand the value he has for the safety of this province or the country. Again, the ANC was silent on the minister's pathetic response. Therefore, it is with good reason that the Democratic Alliance called for his sacking. But as you know, the worst of the bunch are always protected. As far as the province's political leaders are concerned, we are yet to see results on the promises they continue to make every year. Communities get fobbed off with elaborate community dialogues, which goes nowhere. All this lack of promise while women continue to die in the hands of men every day. While the ANC promises that women will be safe to walk in our communities at night, while the ANC promises to ensure decent facilities and services at SAP stations, while the ANC promises to ensure justice is served. All these empty promises while over 1,600 people were murdered in the last quarter in KZN. To add fuel to the fire, 9 of the KZN SAP stations were ranked among the top 30 for the highest rate of murders reported. With that said, KZN continues to suffer with poor SAPS infrastructure. SAPS officers are undertrained. SAPS officers are under-resourced. SAPS officers are understaffed. SAPS officers are underpaid. More SAPS vehicles remain in garages instead of patrolling streets. Criminals have more firepower than SAPS itself. Criminals are more advanced and updated with technology to commit crimes than SAPS has to even log or open a docket. Detectives continue to be handed over new cases and the backlog continues to increase. Huge backlogs continues to exist in DNA labs, delaying justice to victims. The solutions are simple, but the political will to implement good solutions are difficult. South Africans are praying every day for our useless ANC government to fall. And given the recent performance of the ANC, finally our prayers are being heard. We only have a few more months to suffer under the ANC rule. Soon South Africa will be saved by crime and corruption when the ANC falls. Only then will our communities become safer to women and children. Only then will our communities have a peaceful night's sleep with a drop in criminal activities. Because under our watch, we deliver on what we say. I thank you.
The next speaker for 6 minutes on behalf of the EFF is Honorable A.V. Khoza. Honorable A.V. Khoza of the EFF. Honorable A.V. Khoza of the EFF. Honorable A.V. Khoza, according to the table staff, is not on the platform, and we have called him because we thought there will be an indication from his party. Seeing that there is no indication, it continues that we have a party that does not participate in debates. We will now go to the ANC, Honorable J.N. Cele for 7 minutes.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Ngiyabonga ukuthola leli thuba. Honorable Speaker, Honorable Premier, Honorable Members, ngiyanibingelela. Fighting crime is one of the priority areas in terms of ANC manifesto, to which extensive resources have been placed and view the safety and security of the communities in South Africa as a priority. Ngaphandle somlomo kokumosha isikhathi, allow me to join other honorable members who have spoken before me, particularly Honorable Ntombela, for providing a basis for this debate. I agree with all your points and agree with all other honorable members beside Honorable Sen, because she spoke here, but she forgot to mention Honorable Singh abusing his wife. I agree, honorable members, that crime is very rife in our province and in our communities, and it is a call for concern. Speaker, we do not agree with the motion emoyeni nje, but we agree with the concern raised in the motion, supported by the recent statistic released, which shows an increased rate and on the things we see in our communities, the things we see during oversight, the facts we get when we do our police institution oversight, as it is compulsory. If you are an MPL of the African National Congress, you adopt a police station. We do that so that in our constituency we are able to deal with issues pertaining to crime, and reducing crime is a responsibility of everyone, especially when you are a public representative. So sikhuluma into asikhuluma into esifunda phansi, sikhuluma into esizibambele mathupha kuyona. Honorable members, the release of first quarter crime statistic from January to March 2022 by the police minister.
If you can take a seat. What rule are you raising on, Honorable Gumbi?
Chairperson, you look to your rule book, rule 51.1D.
51.1D.
Sorry, 57.
It's announcement or report by the... No, honorable member, sit down.
57.1D.
51.1D.
No, I said 57.
Now you are being unfaithful to your
I apologize.
Sit down. You will rise when you know the rule you want to speak on.
Isikhombise ngokusobala that Inanda was back in the top 3 for sexual offences according to the statistic. Inanda police station registered 98 rape cases in just 3 months, meaning there was more than 1 rape per day reported. It's ranked number 1 for sexual offences in the same period, recording 105 cases in total. KZN ranked up, hoping 2017. Rape with the country sitting at 10,818 cases, which is a call for concern. What is really troubling is that most of these rape cases take place in safe spaces such as home, and rape in schools. Another painful event we have witnessed or experienced as a nation, ukudlwengulwa komntwana egibele itaxi, which was a cruel, brutal and inhuman act. A 21-year female KwaDukuza with her friends were sexually assaulted in a taxi. Somlom, maybe one must comment the application of cameras in some taxis, such as the Taxi Association of South Beach, which somehow will make women to feel better knowing that safe kancane, as the installed cameras will serve as some form of monitoring which may reduce sexual offences happening emateksini. Esinye isenzo esihlasimulisa umzimba ukudlwengulwa kukagogo ona 84 years, which happened a few weeks ago by a 21-year-old esathi uziphumulele umuntu omdala kwakhe esibizane village Newtonville. Izinto ezisabekayo ezikhombisa ezenzeka uma iyouth yethu isidle ama-drugs abizwa ngokuthi iwunga or inyawophe. One must clearly indicate that the most affected by rape are women. There have been a number of rape incidents happening in institutions. The assault or abuse of the LGBTQI plus community experience in our communities must stop. Let us educate imphakathi yethu that in South Africa there is a constitution that recognizes ubulili obuhlukahlukene. We are diverse. Let us fight against ukushawa kwabantu abalolu hlobo. Somlomo ukwebiwa kwezimpahla zasezikoleni, theft of school assets in our communities is worrying, is a concern which should stop now. Uhulumeni uletha intuthuko ezingane zethu ezikoleni bese ukuthi thina njengama-members womphakathi sibe sesiyayintshontsha, sithathe ama-laptop, bathathe ama-computer, bathathe ama-printing, okubuyisela emuva igain kahulumeni no-compromise imfundo yey'ngane zethu. Another form of crime, ukudayiswa kwama-drugs, especially dayiselwa intsha yethu. Since last week alone, police have 1157 suspects for various crime in the province. This includes 29 for murders, 349 for assault, 686 for drug-related offences, while 27 suspects were arrested for unlawful possession of firearms, and ammunition were arrested for domestic violence and femicide, and 97 people were arrested for liquor-related offences. During this operation, police recovered 21 kg of various drugs, including cocaine, crystal meth, crystals, heroin, and dagga. Police also says 3,221 liters of liquor during the operations, while 640 traffic fines were issued. 44 stolen and hijacked vehicles is in various parts of the province. A total of 46 firearms and 716 rounds of ammunition were confiscated. In dealing with all these matters, I have raised is encouraging dialogues in dealing with crimes in our communities. Will assist the communities to have crime awareness marches and workshops, working with NGOs and
your time, Honorable Member.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
The next member on behalf of the NSP for 2 minutes is Honorable C.M. Shinga.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, honorable members. Greetings to you all. The NFP retains and acknowledges the notion that the KwaZulu-Natal province has become the South Africa's murder epicenter. 3 of the province's police stations are on top of the list of areas with the biggest murders recorded. The Umlazi, Inanda, and Blessesle police station were the 3 stations with the highest murderers recorded between January and March 2022. Umlazi had recorded 103 cases of murder, taking first position, followed by Inanda with 75 cases and Blessesle with 67 cases. The areas where these police stations are situated have long been regarded as the most hazardous areas in the province, with all kinds of criminal activity prospering therein by having both the highest murder rate and the highest number of rape cases, and making KZN the murder and rape capital of South Africa. According to the police station functionality research tool, in addition to a lack of human resources, the SAPS also faces a lack of physical and aging resources. Now, to fight crime effectively and appropriately, police stations depend on both human and physical resources. The NFP is greatly concerned that these deficiencies have not been properly addressed over the years and that the Department of Community Safety and Liaison's failure to solve these insufficiencies has direct negative impact on the police station's mandate to bring about service delivery across the province. Honorable Speaker, the NFP supports and recommends the call on the province and legislature to embark on stop crime campaigns and collect illegal firearms from individuals and affected communities to help push back the rampant crime within our province. We need further oversight on this matter.
Thank you, Honorable Shenga. The next speaker for 2 minutes is the Honorable Esther Rajbanzi. She's not in the House. The next speaker, therefore, is Honorable M.E. Phakathi for 2 minutes on behalf of the ATM. Honorable Phakathi.
Somlomo. Kuyiqiniso ukuthi ukukhula kobugebengu kwisifundazwe saKwaZulu-Natal kuyethusa. Somlomo, amaphoyisa esinawo mancane kunabantu ekufune bawasebenze. Somlomo kuneyindawo zasemijondolo engakwazi ukuthi amaphoyisa afinyelele khona lapho leyigilamkhuba zingena zifike zigile imikhuba ziphume ziyongena khona zihlale khona. Uhulumeni wakithi ufuna uzame ngayo yonke indlela okuqeda lezi indawo zokuhlala kwesikhashana ukuze zonke indawo ukwazi ukungeneka kuzona kusetshenzwe lo msebenzi. Bayafa abantu bakithi bayaphela Somlomo. Siyabonga amazwi athi ake sihlangane sibonisane ngalolu daba silwe nobugebengu nokubulawa kwabantu kulesi sifundazwe saKwaZulu-Natal. Ngiyabonga Somlomo.
Honorable Phakathi, the next speaker for 2 minutes on behalf of the ACDP is Honorable S.E. Manqele. Bishop Manqele. Did he give you something, Honorable Shenga? Honorable Shenga, do you have a speech?
Do you hear me?
Okay.
No, we can't give her anything.
Honorable Manqele, we are all yours.
Speaker,
Yebo baba, isikhathi sakho.
Yes. Speaker, the crime prevention is undermining the citizens of our country. So we need really to do something about it. And as ACDP, we understand now, we know what is happening and how it is happening. We even have got strategies in place and plans in place. But these strategies and plans seems not to be implemented. The question is, what must we do to reduce the crime? After this debate, what is going to happen? These debates are taken to where? And what happens thereafter? This issue has been a debate for quite a long of time, but still which is as the members of the legislature, which we need to do that thing. And I appeal, Madam Speaker Uguti, a special committee must be introduced just to look at the issue of the crime prevention alone, so that people who are innocent. Innocent people are dying, are killed, raped every day. And Umunda's survival now is the survival of the fittest. Those who have security guides and others, yes, they are surviving. We are the people. So, Speaker, my plea in this debate is that let it not be a talk show. Let us to get extravagant things that let people like us let us come up and do something.
You Honorable Manqele, siyabonga Bishop Ncedi Enkosi. The next speaker for 11 minutes on behalf of the ANC is Honorable NPF Mavuso.
Honorable Speaker, honorable members of the Executive Council, the members of the Provincial Legislature, Honorable Speaker, we are fully agreed that it's our social responsibility of ensuring that our communities are safe. Hence, we are agreed with Honorable Phakathi that we need to work together to fight corruption as a collective. And that, Honorable Speaker, we are pleading with all the members of this House to ensure that they become part of all the oversights, particularly when we are monitoring the functionality of police stations, so that they get all the statistics that are in line with the corruption and the crime in our country and in our areas where we are dwelling. We've heard Honorable Speaker, Honorable Hussein, when she said that they deliver on what they say, but it becomes a very confusing and questionable when most Black members of the DA are leaving the party en masse. Is that part of your delivery when you don't encompass and embrace the Black members in your party? So women, the very women that you say are abused, are protected by the very police that we are saying are corrupt. Honorable Speaker, the ANC has given national priority to crime prevention involving all public institutions of justice and security and promoting community mobilization and participation. Speaker, the increased rates in crime has become a nightmare, or rather a pandemic in our society, as some community members fear walking in their own streets. Young girls fear even jogging around 17 hours due to incidents of crime that are reported daily. As we participate in this debate, about a month ago, 2 young sisters were found dead and left naked in Umlazi, which is an inhumane act. Honorable Speaker, I wish to bring to the attention of this House that as we are debating this motion, tomorrow the Minister of Police, the General Bheki Cele, will be tabling the Q3 of the National Crime Statistics, which will then be followed by the provincial on the date to be announced soon. We are really wishing that there will be a decline compared to the second quarter statistics. Honorable Cele, as she was debating, touched on an important fact that it is important that we start going back to basics, as fighting crime will need to employ different strategies or methods, and some of which are relevant with times of the 4th Industrial Revolution. However, we want to say adopting the spirit of a child belonging to the village or the community will assist us in fighting crime rather than being individualistic about where a child belongs to his or her family. This approach would assist even when we deal with crime, as it would mean a criminal will not have space in our communities, especially because the perpetrators of crime are not creatures, nor are they foreign. However, it's our brothers, our uncles, and our sisters, where we must be able to expose them and be punished for their wrongdoing. That is one of the ways that we can stop crime. We've seen communities engaging in different local programs or initiatives which is aimed at combating crime. Equally, Speaker, the provincial government has been hard at work with different operations in dealing with this scourge. For example, on Friday, the 11th of November,
our Premier of KwaZulu-Natal Province, Honorable Nomusa Dube-Ncube, successfully launched the Provincial Integrated Festive Season and Safety Month Plan. On that day, the law enforcement agencies demonstrated all the equipment that they have in place and which will work as a weapon in attacking all forms of crime during the upcoming festive season. This process clearly displayed that indeed our government is ready to fight the scourge of crime that was an analysis of the Premier resulting from the exercise conducted. Again, Honorable Speaker, last week alone, the police had caught 1,157 suspects for various crimes in the province. Those crimes included 29 for murder, 349 for assault, 286 for drug-related offences, while 27 suspects were arrested for unlawfully possession of firearms and ammunition. One must indicate that on top of the number of 1,957 were arrested for domestic violence and femicide, and 97 people were arrested for liquor-related offences. During these operations, the police recovered 21 kg of various drugs, including cocaine, crystal meth, ecstasy, heroin, and dacha, which is a call for concern, njengoba ama-drugs ewumulala sizwe. Kwaphinde kwatholakala 3,221 liters of liquor during the operations. Kwatholakala 44 stolen and hijacked vehicles in various parts of the province. A total of 46 firearms and 716 rounds of ammunition were confiscated. Speaker, since our debate speaks more to statistics based on research, it is evident that illegal firearms are still in the hands of people. We have seen government crime awareness campaigns, particularly on firearms, continuing telling people that the amnesty season is every day. Illegal firearms need to be taken back to the police so that together we can build and maintain a crime-free province. Honorable members, the issue of crime is a very serious and in line with all the matters that have been raised by honorable members, particularly by Honorable Mentombela, who focused on murder, which calls all of us as community members, different political parties, and the private sector has to play a role in fighting crime. We want to applaud our province, 10 districts or 10 and 11 districts that have sexual harassment policies in place. We will take to call upon the 11th district to do the right thing. A total of 3,507 GBV related crimes are committed in KZN from July to September 2022. Out of that, 3,507 is from eThekwini, which really suggests the need for a more intensified program to take place at the metro. Kube kuya ngathi ngabe singamaphoyisa who patrol around in all the wards to ensure that all communities of KwaZulu-Natal are safe. However, due to the limited availability of resources, that cannot happen. That is why we encourage communities to work closely with government structures, such as community policing forums and other progressive law-abiding forums found in our communities. So, Mlomo, as I close my debate, allow me to agree with our General Secretary of the SACP, the ANC National Working Committee member and the MK Chief of Staff, Comrade Thembisile Hani, when he said, and I quote, "What we need in South Africa is for egos to be suppressed in favor of peace. We need to create a new breed of South Africans who love their country and love everybody, irrespective of their color," close quote. With those great words from a true revolutionary whose blood was shed for the benefits we have today, let us unite and fight crime whenever it shows its ugly head. I thank you.
Wow.
The next member to respond to the debate is the Honorable S.E. Manqele, the mover of the motion. For 5 minutes, Tatu Manqele.
Thank you, Speaker. all members who have debated were just in the point, sticking to the point, and I thank you. I thank all of them for their contribution. Thank you so much. Speaker, before I close up, I want to remind this House that on the 3rd of June 2020, when Honorable Sihle Zikalala was still the Premier, he was addressing us on a crime prevention summit, where he mentioned most of good things that we need to do. If I quote him, he said, "We want to lead in creating social cohesion and the human rights of most people not associate with the higher hitmen or
Honorable Mangala. Bob Mangale. Bob Mangale.
is Ngabi and
Babu Mangale.
After his one of the things he mentioned was
Babu Mangale. Babu Mangale. Honorable Mangale. It's a clear indication that the connection is failing you. We can't hear you.
To the gun
We can't hear you and you can't hear us.
I hear you.
Okay, we
hear
were
everything
saying
on your
that,
side.
Honorable Mangele, we can't hear you. You are breaking. If you can try to speak in a place that you won't be breaking.
I don't know what must I do, ma. Really, I've got a problem. Really, I've got. Let me just say, thank you very much for everybody who debated.
No, Honorable Mangele. Honorable Mangele, the Secretary of the Legislature yesterday issued a communication on instruction from us that members who are going to debate must be aware that there is load shedding. It is their responsibility to be in places where there is. We can't hear you. We can't hear you, sir. Now, it's in futility that we let you continue because you are breaking. You can't hear us. We can't hear you.
Thanks, ma. Thanks a lot, Speaker. Let's conclude like that.
Thank you, Babu Mangale, for your understanding. Honorable members, we've come to the end of item 8.7 on the order 8.7 on the order paper. Honorable members, we just want to remind you of a few housekeeping issues. If you are going to debate, it is your responsibility. We have been forewarned that there is going to be a rolling load shedding. Load shedding affects network connectivity. It is advisable that you must come to the legislature precinct physically. But if you opt, because we can't compel members, if you opt to be remote, go to a place where there is connectivity. It is your responsibility. But also, Honorable Chief Whip, I want to bring your members, all 79 of them, Honorable Mamalala, remind them of Rule 55(1). To preserve the decorum of the House, members must dress formally or in contemporary business or traditional attire. I will stop there because that's what we have been observing, especially from members that are males. You are now dressing in, some of you, in general, some of the members are dressing in a manner that is not provided for in the rules. Honorable Chief Whip, we implore you to please assist us in keeping in order with that in terms of the appearance of your members in the House. Siyazicelela nje. The other matter, honorable members, is that on the 3rd of December, we thought the Premier will announce it. On the 3rd of December, following the Parliament for People with Disabilities, there will be the celebration of the Day for Persons with Disabilities. It will be in the same venue as the Parliament the following day. Honorable members are all invited. It has also come to our attention that, honorable members, some members go to these activities. They sleep a night before, the following night, they are not in the said activity. Others arrive 3 hours after the start of the activity, whilst they were accommodated or booked into hotels, and others arrive for 30 minutes and get lost. We have, with the Deputy Speaker, instructed the Secretary to ensure that those members who either drive through or who go and sleep in a hotel, the Legislature must enforce the policies regarding to you being booked and not undertaking the work of the Legislature. So we are just imploring you, honorable members, to kindly, towards Christmas, in all spirit of Christmas, adhere to your oath of office. Honorable members, the House is now adjourned until Thursday, the 24th of November at 9 o'clock.
Yeah, some more.
Bangazitha ifletsizwe ekupapelayo.
Cela manilalisiwe emahhotela bakwethu nenza umsebenzi nenza umsebenzi manilalisiwe emahhotela.
Manje umhlonishuse nakamazwi lindele ukuthi naye umuntu wesifazane.
Dase manilalisiwe emahhotela fikani ngesikhathi emcimbini.
Thina asiyelali-ke nasemahhotela la. Kodwa-ke ubaletsizwe phaphela umfokaphakathi.